considering happiness and distress, loss or gain, victory or defeat. And by doing so, you shall never incur sin. So, this is here the first verse where Krishna is recommending Arjuna to act on the spiritual platform. So before he had explained in the second chapter, Sankhya, analytical study. An analytical study of the soul and the body. So Lord Krishna has explained all the characteristics of the soul. And after that, his description went till text 29. So we have heard in the first chapter Arjuna given different reasons for not fighting. And the his first reason for not fighting was compassion. In answer to that, Krishna has explained the characteristics of the soul of the real self. And he has counteracted that argument of Arjuna, telling him that you can not kill Bhishma or Drona, your grandfather or your teacher, because they are the soul, not the body. The body is just like a dress. And when you kill their body, they will get a new body. And that's rather, that is rather an event to be happy about. They get a new body. Now they have an old body. So you cannot kill them. So there is argument of compassion was completely scattered. But the second reason, which Arjuna gave for not fighting, was enjoyment. He said, when I lose the battle, he said, I will go to hell because of my sinful reactions of killing my family. And when I win the battle, that means that I've killed my relatives. Then I cannot enjoy the kingdom. Because how can I enjoy without them? So for Arjuna, it was a loss, a double loss. But Krishna has turned that in the last verses that he spoke in a win-win position. He said, no, Arjuna, when a Kshatriya dies on the battlefield, he goes to heaven. And when you win the battle, you will enjoy the kingdom. But of course, that was the argument of Arjuna. I will not be able to enjoy. I will not be able to enjoy the kingdom. But yes, also Krishna has counteracted this argument that but now we come to the next argument Krishna will counteract. What was the third reason that Arjuna gave for not fighting? That he said the third reason is we will get reactions for not killing, for killing our relatives. Although the opposing party, they were all all transgressors of all the principles of religion, they deserve to be killed. But Krishna counteracts this argument with this verse that we said here, just read. Thou fight for the sake of fighting without considering happiness and distress, loss of gain, victory of defeat, and by doing so, you shall never incur sin, Krishna says, because then you act on the spiritual platform. So Krishna is telling Arjuna here, you should fight because it's my arrangement. I want you to fight. I want you to help me to kill all these useless Kshatriyas who are acting for their own enjoyment and not for the benefit of the people, that for their spiritual well-being. So I want you to become an instrument. You just fight that without considering victory or defeat. Krishna says, I will arrange that, this victory and defeat. That's my business. You just become my instrument. And then you will have no incursion, means there will be no reaction. Like during a war, a soldier is killing the enemy, and after the war he gets a medal. But if the same soldier kills someone during time of peace, it's a murder, and he will go to prison for a lifelong sentence. So he gets a reaction. The same way, if Arjuna follows Krishna's instructions and act on his order without considering happiness and distress, without wanting to fight for one's own benefit, but just to please Krishna, then that is an activity in Krishna consciousness. That everything should be performed to please Krishna. Then there is no reaction. But now he had described in the second chapter before all these characteristics of the soul and explained, Arjuna, you are eternal, we are all eternal, and our individuality will never be lost. The soul keeps its individuality now, in the present, and in the future. But now in the next section, text 39 beginning, so Krishna will speak about Buddhi Yoga. Buddhi Yoga, Srila Prabhupada says, Krishna consciousness. Is combining two things. So we have heard an analytical study of the soul, that description of the body and soul. And why did Krishna explain that? Just to bring Arjuna to that point of acting in Buddhi Yoga or in Krishna consciousness. So he has explained, Arjuna, you are a spirit soul, not a body. Now he's going to explain how to act as a spirit soul. We must bring this knowledge in practice, because we are here because we have acted as being the body, identifying with the body. And then you get reactions. But now one must act with that knowledge, that I'm a spirit soul. Text 39. Esate bihita sankhye buddhi yoga tvinam shinu buddhya yukta jaya parta karma bandham prahasyasi. Thus far I have described this knowledge to you through analytical study. Now listen as I explain it in terms of working without fruitive results or snaprita. When you act in such knowledge, you can free yourself from the bondage of works. So Krishna is now describing, he starts to describe how to work in Buddhi Yoga with this knowledge that we are the spirit soul and for his pleasure. Then one can become free from the bondage of work, no reaction. And by performing this devotional service to Krishna, one gets pure knowledge directly to the heart. So it is such an analytical study. Sankhya philosophy is an analytical study. And the purport Srila Prabhupada repeats twice. This Sankhya philosophy is spoken in the Bhagavatam. And this is the real Sankhya. It's spoken by Devahuti Putra, the son of Devahuti, that Kapila Dev. That's the real Kapila Dev, but there is another imposter Kapila Dev, who is an impersonalist, Srila Prabhupada said. But the real Sankhya philosophy we find in the last part of the third canto of the Bhagavatam, the teachings of Lord Kapila Dev. So now that Arjuna before has accepted Krishna as a spiritual master, now Krishna will tell him how to act spiritually. Because since time immemorial we are acting as we're thinking we are the body, and we're acting to give profit to the body. So that is a kind of insanity. And we are acting with other people thinking they are the bodies. But we don't see the real person. The real person is the spirit soul. So that's also insanity. In that way, when you identify with the body, you come under the control of duality, good and bad. We accept what's good, what pleases the body and the senses and the mind. And we don't want what gives distress to the body and the mind. So you act to get pleasure and to avoid the distress, and that's acting as the body, and that gives reactions. Whatever you do in that consciousness gives reactions. So we have to bring our consciousness to the spiritual platform, and that starts with becoming aware of who I am. If we act on the spiritual platform, then free from bondage of work, no reaction, and you come purified by previous of your previous perform of all your reactions of previous activities. So we have Arjuna is hearing that, and Krishna will explain this more deeply, how to act as a spirit soul, in the 3rd, 4th, and 5th chapter. In the 3rd chapter, he gives the basic principles, and in the 5th chapter, he gives more details. But Arjuna will not get it straight away. He will remain confused. He thinks he understands Buddha, or he misunderstands that, yes, that's because Krishna will say later, yes, that he will tell Arjuna, now stand up and fight. Fight and be renounced. So for Arjuna, that's difficult to understand. If I act, how can I renounce? No, renounce is like a sannyasi giving everything up. And acting, yes, I'm acting, but that's not renouncing. So that's difficult to understand for Arjuna, and probably for us also. How can you act and being renounced at the same time? Arjuna thinks renouncing, that's like a sannyasi or a beggar, and you give up all your activities. And that's what he wanted to do. He did not want to fight and leave the battlefield and become a beggar. He's thinking that's renouncing. Or I act, but that's not renounced. But here it's explained, when you act as a spirit soul, then that's a renounced action. What is renunciation? What is real renunciation? That is to be understood here. Real renunciation does not mean that one gives up activities, but that one does one's activities in a renounced spirit. And what is this renounced spirit? Krishna explains here, that without considering happiness and distress, loss or gain, victory or defeat. But that means one does not want any gain, that all loss. No, one acts out of duty, because Krishna wants Arjuna to fight. Said, you should do your duty and fight, not considering loss or defeat. And that's based on knowledge, because that if one renounces, impersonalists, they renounce. And they say, I renounced my house, my wife, and so on. It was all mine, and now I have given it up. So that's renunciation. Krishna explained, no, that's not real renunciation, because they are wrong. That it's not just giving up what's mine, because if you are the soul, then not a body. What do you possess? That at the time of death, you go to the next body. Can you take your property deed with you? You can try, but it will not go. It's not possible that to take your property deed with you. No. So property, if we think something belongs to us, then it belongs to the body. We think it belongs to the body. It does not belong to the soul. So the soul cannot possess anything. And why is that? And the body, that's not us. That can also not possess anything. Because the body is alive because the soul is there. The soul. But everything belongs to Krishna, not to us. We are temporary. We may think we are the owner. It's a good idea. But even if you think we are not, it belongs all to Krishna. And Krishna will make that clear also in the 5th chapter. Sarvalokam Aishvaram. Everything belongs to me. And therefore, Bhaktam Jagatarpasam, I'm the enjoyer of everything. So if the impersonalists say, I renounced my wife, I renounced my house, and so on, it's false renunciation. Because to begin with, it's not theirs, it's Krishna's. That's something does not belong to you, how can you renounce? I can say, I renounce the house of my neighbor, but it's not yours. Everyone will say, you are mad. It's the same thing. That it's madness to think like that. Because we are not a body. That nothing belongs to us. So that's false renunciation. What is real renunciation? Understanding nothing belongs to me. And everything belongs to Krishna. And because it belongs to Krishna, he has the right to enjoy. So whatever I have It's under my care to be used in Krishna's service. If I use everything in Krishna's service without thinking, without wanting to enjoy anything, then you are completely renounced by using it in the service of Krishna. So that's real renunciation. So that is the first verse here. Krishna explains how to act as a spirit soul. And what's the advantage? You don't get any reactions in this world, Krishna says. You are free from bondage of war. Because why are we here? Because of our previous activities in previous lives, many previous lives, we got a particular body. And that particular body gets all the reactions from past lives. And the body itself is a reaction of past life. That's the only thing you experience. At the time of birth, your happiness and distress is fixed in this life. But what the body has to go through, and the mind and so on, the happiness and distress and calamities and a flickering enjoyment sometimes, it's all predestined. And you cannot change it. And that's the reality. But do we want to take birth and birth again? No, you want to get rid of these reactions. But of course, this consciousness, this Krishna consciousness, to act for the pleasure of Krishna, that's based on your desire. You must desire to act for the pleasure of Krishna. So spiritual life begins with that desire. And that's explained in text 40. Niyabhi kamanasasti pratyavayo navidyate swapam apyasya dharmasya trayate mato bhayat. In this endeavor, there is no loss or diminution, and a little advancement on this path can protect one from the most dangerous type of fear. So there's no diminution. So that is very interesting. And a little advancement on this path can protect one from the most dangerous type of fear. No loss of diminution. What does that mean? That on a material platform, material platform here means all actions where you identify with the body. If you act on a material platform, then if you strive for something in this world and you cannot complete it, you will not get the results. You have to study at university. You will get the results when you have the diploma. On the way, yes. If you give up on the way, you don't get a result, nothing. And that's on a material platform. Yes. But on the platform of Krishna consciousness, by acting in the way as prescribed in the two previous verses, then healthy, you will make advancement and give up that tendency to act for ein mind. So it's a gradual process that it is said here. There is no loss or diminution. That if you become 20% purified, or you make 20% advancement in Krishna consciousness, then you keep that forever. Krishna consciousness means one acts for the pleasure of Krishna, one thinks of Krishna. That we chant Hare Krishna, and in the beginning we hear the holy name, but our mind may be somewhere else. But if we make progress, we will start to think of Krishna. And it's a gradual process. It will be explained in the 6th chapter that one who does not get perfection in this life, but has performed devotional service, then but when one has performed devotional service, then one can have two results at the end of the 6th chapter. One is the result of a short practitioner, or the result of a long practitioner. One will just start to perform devotional service, who chants 16 rounds, who also follows the regulative principles. But it was a short time, then the heart is not yet purified. But still nothing is lost, Krishna says. One goes first to the heavenly planet and can enjoy there for a long time because there are still material desires in the heart. And then one comes back, takes birth of the earth again, earthly planets, and takes birth again as in a rich family, so that one does not have to walk too much. And one can again practice Krishna consciousness to make advancement. So nothing is lost. But for one who has practiced a long practice, Krishna says, and does not get perfection, such a devotee will take birth in a family of advanced transcendentalist pure devotees. And he will from there again start to make spiritual advancement. He will quickly come to the platform again where he finished up last life, and then he can make further progress. In that way, Krishna says there is no loss of diminution on the spiritual platform. You attain 20% Krishna consciousness, next life you start with 20%. But on the material platform, yes, there is nothing to gain if you don't get the end result, the enjoyment that you want. A second thing in this verse is, on this path can protect one from the most dangerous type of fear. What is the most dangerous type of fear? Is that in the next life we will degrade ourselves and enter animal life or whatever, That's the greatest fear. But Krishna promises if you perform Krishna consciousness, then next life, the human birth is guaranteed. That's a consolation prize. If you don't get the perfection, you get again the human form of life. And that's not a cheap thing. That's a guarantee that devotees have. You will not degrade yourself. That, of course, we have seen Bharat Maharaj. Bharat Maharaj, he became a deer accidentally, but he had not a consciousness of a deer. He remembered his previous life. He had retained his spiritual consciousness. That's interesting. So even accidentally, one retains one's spiritual consciousness or one's advancement. In each life after that, he was born in a family, in a Brahmin family, and he became Chad Bharat, a fully realized devotee. So that is explained here, that if we act without desire for sense gratification, no sense gratification, just to please Krishna, then one gets a permanent effect, because it will carry us again to Krishna consciousness, that even after the loss of the body. So even a small beginning in devotional service gives that guarantee of the human life, next lifetime. So that's important knowledge. Now text 41. Vyavasatmika buddhi ekana koranandana pausakya anantasa buddhya vyavasayanam. So that you have two kinds of consciousness described here. The first is Vyavsa Atmika Buddhi, one-pointed intelligence, where the mind is fixed on one point. And what is that? That is, what kind of consciousness is that fixed on one point? That spiritual consciousness. Spiritual consciousness. So when one has strong faith, when one performs devotional service, then one will come to that point of vyavasayatmika, fixing oneself on one point. That one point is pleasing Krishna. But in the beginning, we cannot please Krishna directly. Therefore, we need a spiritual master. And the spiritual master gives us instructions. So someone, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, explains this Vyavasatmika Buddhi means following the instructions of the spiritual master, taking the instructions of the spiritual master of one's life and soul. And that's the only desire of the bona fide disciple. That, of course, in order to follow the instructions of the spiritual master, you must know his instructions. But that's the only wish of the spiritualist, to follow the directions of the spiritual master, which are the same as the directions of Krishna, and which are the same as the directions of the super soul. They say all the same. So that's a spiritual platform. But the material platform is Pausakaya antasu Vyavasainam, that one's mind and desires are many branches. Materialistic people are full of thousands of desires. And their mind goes in all ways to fulfill all these desires. And they have no peace. That it says Vyavasainam, that can never lead to Krishna consciousness. Prahlad Maharaj said the same thing to his father. Materna Krishna Patos Vatrupa. Yeah. Materna Krishna Patos Vatrupa. That he said this Materna Krishna, your attraction to Krishna will never take place. Prahlad said to his father. Matoba Vidyati Shriyavartanam, because you are attracted to sense gratification. You have all these material desires, and your mind is absorbed in that. And then there is no space for Krishna. You become absorbed to it, and what do? Because you concentrate of all these desires, your mind is uncontrolled in senses. Because you become the slave of your senses. You don't control them. You become the slave. And then you're on the way to hell. And that's most people are like that in this world. They are trying to fulfill so many desires for a temporary body, which they are not. A body is trying to enjoy the body, try to enjoy this machine. So that is material consciousness. So it's just here, two things we learn here. That by performing devotional service, we will come to that Vyavasatmika Buddhi. Finally, we will come to the point. The only thing we want is to please Krishna, pleasing the spiritual master. We become purified. But this must be done under the direction of a bona fide spiritual master. So Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says, yes, that the key of success is the satisfaction of the spiritual master. If the spiritual master is satisfied, Krishna becomes satisfied. Therefore, one should accept the instruction of a bona fide spiritual master as one's mission in life. So now, in the next verse, 42, Krishna goes back to a lower platform, the platform of material enjoyment. And because why is he doing that? Because before he had counteracted that argument of Arjuna. He said, yes, if you do your duty of a Kshatriya and you die, you go to the heavenly planets to enjoy there. And when you win the kingdom, you will enjoy also. But that's the material platform. And Krishna is now going to condemn that. He says, Yamimam pushpitam vacham pradavant avipashita vedavatayata parta nanyatastiti padina kamatmanasvaya para janmakama phalapadam pyavishesha baulam bogasparyam gyatim pata. Men of small knowledge are very much attached to the flowery words of the Vedas, which recommend various fruitive activities for elevation to heavenly planets, result at good birth, power, and so on. Being desire of sense gratification and opulent life, they say there is nothing more than this. So they say, yes, that's all there is, they think that, but it's acting on the body platform for sense gratification in a religious way. That's called karma kanda. But what's the result of all this? That trying to act just to get some nice temporary situation for some time. Then, but what's the result? Krishna explains in the next verse. Bhogaspara Prashaktanam Tayaparitashitasham Vyavsatmika Buddhi Samadhana Vidiyate. In the minds of those who are too attached to sense enjoyment and material opulence and are bewildered by such things, resolute determination for devotional service to the Supreme Lord does not take place. So, if we want to become Krishna conscious, we should give that up, Krishna says. This attachment to sense and enjoyment and material opulence. That, because what is the result? Tayaparita shetasya, bhogashvara pasaktanam. If we are attached to sense enjoyment, tayaparita shetasam, the mind is always disturbed. That how can you feel satisfied when your mind is always disturbed? And then Krishna says, Samadhana vidyate, then samadhi will not take place. Krishna consciousness is samadhi. But that samadhi is active. You act for Krishna. And by that your mind is always fixed on Krishna or on the instruction of the spiritual master. So you need that one-pointed intelligence, fix your mind on Krishna always to get samadhi. That. But if we are attached to sense annoyance and so on, samadhana vidyate is not taking place. Therefore, what does Krishna say further about this karma kanda? In the next verse, he will condemn it. Give that up, Arjuna. Go above that and act on the spiritual platform. Say, Traigunya Vishaya Veda Nistraiguna Pavarana Nirtanfo Nitya Sattvastu Niryoga Kshema Atmavan. The Vedas deal mainly with the subject of the three modes of material nature. And Arjuna, become transcendental to these three modes, be free from all dualities and all anxieties for gain and safety, and be established in the self. So act as your real self on the spiritual platform, Krishna says here. Otherwise, if you want sense enjoyment, you are under the control of these three modes. And what do you get? And you get absorption in duality. This is nice for the body, that I want, and that I don't want, that gives you stress, and that becomes one's life's goal. And that's our idea, the body idea of happiness. And we have been doing that for so many lifetimes. And now Krishna says, give it up. Give it up. That because we are also always in anxiety for gain and safety. Because you want to get safety and the gain for the body. But it's childish. Because it's all temporary. And that if you strive for enjoyment in this world, you don't get this stress. That's the reality. That you just get the opposite of what you desire. That because why is that? Because if you want to give enjoyment to the body, you have to pay for it. What's the payment for enjoyment? It's this stress. That's a reaction. It's all imbalance. That you try to enjoy something, then yes, you are exploiting, and that exploitation gets the reaction. Then was the price? You will be exploited, and you will feel distress. So it's all action reaction. That's Krishna says, don't act for this enjoyment. Even karma kanda, even if it's pious and so-called good, that it's not sinful, still you get reactions. So give that up. Because yes, we learn from that. Bhogashvara Pasaksham Taraprita Shetasam. The previous verse, yes. All we cannot avoid really attachment in this world. We must be attached to something, but important is at least avoid excessive attachment to sense enjoyment and material opulence. Don't make it a goal of your life, because then it becomes an obstacle to advance in devotional service. So that's important. Avoid excessive attachment. And if you engage in devotional service, then if we engage in devotional service, then surely this remaining attachment will go. So this is the section I wanted to cover today. If there are any comments or questions, so feel free to ask. Otherwise, we will continue next Tuesday evening with the next section. Try to understand that more as deep as we can go. That we will continue for 2 weeks more with the classes. Because after that, I'm starting to teach the Bhakti Vaibhav class for the Mayapur Institute, and that's in the night, and then I cannot stay so long. So there will be an interruption, and then next year we will start with another seminar. We will inform you about the topic. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Maharaj. Thank
Jai
you.
Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Prabhupada.
Swami Maharaj ki jai. Hare Krishna.